Thanks to everyone for joining us this afternoon for our next installment of the webinar series through DHPSNY. I'm Andrew Marietta, and I'll introduce myself here in a moment. Just as a reminder to folks, there'll be a recording of this webinar that will be forwarded to you in probably not this week, but at least at the latest by next week, with a PDF of the slides that we'll be reviewing. So you will get that information as a follow-up. And also, if you have any questions as we move through the discussion, you can definitely let me know by just putting your questions in the chat, and I'll read those out loud and do my best to try to address those questions as we're having our discussion. So just as a reminder, you obviously, if you have any other questions, you can email, especially around DHPSNY and the webinar series, the previous webinars that have been offered, because they have all been recorded, or the other resources. You can contact the folks at DHPSNY using the email address and phone number here. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my what we're going to be talking about today is membership program revitalization, or this idea of really trying to re-energize or leverage your membership program and make the most of it. And that's really, we're going to talk about kind of the challenges we're seeing with membership programs and ways to maybe rethink that membership initiative, and then ways of thinking or looking at improvements, and also evaluation and assessment regarding our membership program. So we're going to cover kind of a wide range of components, and we'll kind of see how the discussion goes, and hopefully you have a couple of things as a takeaway that you can look at, for your own membership program or your own membership initiative tied to your historical society or museum. So just quickly, I'm Andrew Marietta. I'm actually with the New York Council of Nonprofits. We're a partner with DHPSNY, and we primarily are involved with DHPSNY in facilitating the strategic planning services through the DHPSNY program. And that's, some folks might know us through that work. We also obviously are doing this webinar series on behalf and in partnership with DHPSNY. And in terms of our organization, I'll kind of just highlight a couple of things about NYCON in a moment here, but also just a reminder, around the Documentary Heritage and Preservation Services Program. It's a 5-year initiative, and you can, assuming everyone that registered, you're obviously on the contact list for DHPSNY. You've probably gone to the website and seen the other resources and information. And this is, I believe, the 5th year of DHPSNY, and it would be, the next kind of cycle would start next year. So more information to come on that, and the different offerings and resources. And so there'll be further updates. But if you haven't had an opportunity to take advantage of some of the other programs like the archives assessment or the strategic planning assistance, we definitely encourage you to take a look at those resources and look at if they're a fit for your organization. And of course, if you have any questions, again, you can email DHPSNY or call them for more information. In terms of NYCON, the New York Council of Nonprofits, the organization that I represent and that's a partner with DHPSNY, I am the Vice President of Regional Development, and I actually am out of the museum sector myself, have a master's in museum studies. And so through NYCON, we work with cultural organizations all across New York State, and through a variety of partnerships. And NYCON itself is a service organization for the nonprofit sector. And so we provide a variety of resources and information and technical assistance to organizations really focused on their business operations. And that, really comes down to governance, management, and, all the areas kind of encompassing, the nonprofit operation of your nonprofit or your historical society or museum. So human resources, board development, board operations, strategic planning, fund development, all those kinds of components. And we have a unique structure, and we have a variety of expertise represented, including 2 attorneys on staff, as well as our own insurance brokerage that helps nonprofits, including cultural organizations, with various insurance needs. So we're well positioned to speak to a variety of topics. And so today, with membership, I'm kind of covering this topic from the perspective of my own work over the last 16 years with museums and historical societies, and then overall trends that we see in the sector. And obviously this is ever evolving. So this is where, if you have additional comments or information that you'd like to share, or questions, feel free to use that chat function, because I definitely am happy to integrate it into the discussion, especially in your own efforts around membership. So I think a lot of organizations are trying to figure this out, and how best to make them, how best to leverage their membership program, which is really, bottom line, typically a revenue generating component of the organization, and brings a lot of other benefits and value. But for most, it's really a kind of a bread and butter revenue driver. So in terms of learning objectives, we're going to first just talk about overall revenue generation strategies, and so membership fits into that area, and then recognizing there's some challenges and what those challenges typically are. Then talking about membership and what really is the value, and some ideas around, we really need to define that better, and that call to action, why people should join, what's the benefit. There's more than just benefits to a membership program, and maybe repositioning how we talk about membership, how you could better leverage it, the idea of, the messaging and marketing around our, not only membership, but our organization, and then ways to kind of evaluate or assess your membership, and find out, what people think, what's the kind of getting a pulse on engagement and the perceived value of your organization and your membership. What do the members think? So we're going to cover kind of a wide area, and so we will, like I said, see what you all think. If you have any comments or questions you want to put in the chat function. So first of all, in terms of revenue generating strategies, and I just had presented recently as a part of our other webinar previously to this for DHPSNY on fund development, kind of infrastructure for boards, and how do we kind of get our boards more involved, and what's some of the ideas or keys to success for fund development efforts for organization. And this fits under that previous webinar, and it connects right to membership as well. This idea of revenue generating strategies, and how do we raise money for our organization. So we kind of have these different areas that we focus our efforts on, ranging from grants to earned revenue and entrepreneurial activities, and then our fundraising activities. And you'll see right at the top there, fundraising activities. The first one I have is membership. So membership, special events, direct mail, like that annual appeal, email solicitation, text giving, phone-a-thons, plan giving, face-to-face solicitation, donor development kind of effort, and online fundraising. These are some of the ideas that fall under fundraising, but more specifically, we're talking about membership, and so we'll kind of see, overall, for an organization, we're really hoping that our revenue generating is diversified. So that we kind of piece together our different funding to support and ultimately sustain our organization and allow us to accomplish mission. So if we're overly dependent on government funding, which is definitely a problem in this environment, where we're seeing a lot of cuts or definitely cuts on the horizon at all levels of government, at the state and local, then this is where other activities, that earn revenue, and especially our fundraising activities, become all that more important. So this is a good time to really be thinking about your membership program and how are we doing with it, and how do we maybe leverage or improve it, make more of the membership. Part of this is infrastructure and really understanding if we want to strengthen what we're doing or make improvements, we need to have some level of infrastructure and a foundation upon which to build. So kind of getting our organization ready is part of the process. So if you are going to try to change or improve your membership, and kind of especially if you're having challenges with retention or just overall engagement, then we really need to figure out how are we going to support making those changes or whatever we're prioritizing in terms of what we want to do with a membership program. So part of that is sometimes a committee. That's a good approach. And again, going back to the recent fund development webinar, fund development committee is a great tool and a perfect place to discuss membership. Some organizations have a dedicated membership committee, but some kind of fund development or resource development committee can be a part of this. Overall, we just need to get buy-in from the board and obviously staff if we have that capacity, but getting everybody to buy in, and that committee can help us do that. It gives us kind of some way of picking up on that initiative and moving forward with it. But we need everyone on board and supporting it. And once we get that buy-in, then we're looking at how do we build knowledge, skills, feel more comfortable, and that's overall with resource development. But again, if we can put a committee in place, it really can help us better support the overall efforts, as well as professional development for the committee members and the board of directors. We want to develop policies, so just what is it we're expected to do as a committee, as an organization, for our board, what's the role of the staff, what do we do when money comes in. These are all important components of resource development. So they're going to help support our work. We want to make sure that we have that we can support what we actually are trying to carry out. If you're going to run a membership program and you don't have a way of tracking it, like a database or a way to handle the renewal process, or even just something as simple as acknowledgements, then that will be problematic, and it will be difficult to support that effort and to keep people engaged and make sure that you're making the most of that effort. So we have to kind of assess what our capacity is, and then ideally we'd have a plan, and overall for resource development, some kind of outline or plan of action for and a fund development plan is sometimes another description for it. And if you're interested in hearing about what's in a fund development plan, you can definitely again listen to that previous recorded webinar, which gets more specific into the components of a fund development plan and the fund development committee. But overall, if we really want to be successful with resource development, we want to have kind of these components in place to help us move forward. And that goes directly to trying to make the most of membership, where you're looking to improve it or possibly expand it, whatever your goals are. So once we have our necessary infrastructure and really who is going to have this discussion and try to prioritize or identify what we're trying to do with our membership program, part of it also goes back to expectations and the recognition of really what is it that we are all understanding in terms of our role. And so this is really the bottom line. I mean, with a membership program and the board of directors and the staff, if you have them, there's a recognition that you're all essentially citizen marketers. So you're all in sales. Your membership program is a promotional tool. And so we're out there using it to sell the organization and some kind of value or benefit or way of engaging with our organization through membership. And so we have to recognize that, what we're doing is we're selling something. And so as in this role of board of directors and staff, you are citizen marketers. So we are out there promoting our membership, and we want to be able to explain what we're raising money for through this membership program, what's the value of the membership program, and then the best way to communicate what we're offering, and then the why it should matter to these individuals that we want to give us their money, make that investment. So this is the same for fund development in general, just the organization overall, and in terms of raising money to support the organization. But for our discussion today, more specifically in membership, you are selling membership, and kind of we need to address these questions and better understand, and the better we can speak to them, the more successful we're going to be in that activity of selling our membership. In terms of our plan, and more broadly, a fund development plan or a resource development plan, membership would be integrated into that plan. And so if we're talking about some kind of overall efforts in raising money, we want to have some concrete ideas of what how we're going to do that. And this is where, if we want to improve our membership program, then we want to have a plan for doing so. So here's where we would identify, just to get everybody on the same page, what are the challenges with our membership program, and then what are our goals? What are we trying to change? What are we trying to accomplish? So it's going to get us all on the same page. It's going to identify that infrastructure in terms of what's going to support this effort moving forward. And then it's also going to get everyone, in terms of buy-in, get us all on the same page in agreement. And then it's going to give us a framework by which to accomplish this. And again, I'm using membership specifically as a part or as an example of having a plan, but really overall, you would, in best case scenario, you'd have a plan that is going to encompass all your revenue generating activities, such as your annual appeal, whatever you're prioritizing for your organization that's feasible and realistic. So not things that you don't traditionally do, obviously, but really what makes up your revenue generating efforts that are supporting your mission. But specifically, as you think about membership, we need a plan. How's this going to work? What are we trying to do in terms of move the needle? And who's going to support this? And then making sure we have buy-in and we have kind of our roadmap for making this happen. And again, within the context of this plan, it gives us, there's a benefit from a variety of perspectives. I mean, for membership, it's going to help you obviously better address what you're trying to accomplish with membership. It also could help you bring in other folks, possible committee members or volunteers that could maybe have an expertise that you're looking for to help you revitalize your membership program. So if you have put a plan together, then it gives you an orientation or a recruitment tool that you can provide to individuals that have skill sets that you need to try to address this specific area. And again, more broadly, a plan, a fund development plan, or a resource development plan, or revenue generation plan is a great tool to help you bring new board members on and get them orientated, as well as committee members or volunteers. So it's having a plan. It gives you kind of a roadmap for what you're trying to accomplish, and then it also helps you put something in writing that you can give to others to help them understand how they would be involved and how they can contribute, and also benchmark and recognize kind of how things are going, where do you need to reassess, and recognizing the positive results that you end up accomplishing. So a variety of arguments, supportive reasons to have a plan. And in this case, if you want to, again, just reinforcing, if you want to improve your membership program, talking about it is one thing, but putting those ideas on paper and really, one, recognizing we have a problem, and then coming up with a plan of action, and then actually assigning responsibility and some kind of time frame will help us be more successful in making those changes. And so just to get at the challenges, because I think this is a commonality for many organizations, in terms of what's going on with membership. I mean, I think there are problems with retention right now in general, just getting people to stay and renew. That is a commonality, and we're hearing, where cultural organizations are seeing even members, somewhat aging out. It's an older demographic. Where are the people who are coming in to replace them? So that's the other challenge, recruiting and attracting new members. Membership is an important revenue generator, but it seems to be decreasing for many organizations, and there's a variety of reasons for that. But in general, engagement is problematic. And for many organizations, depending on their capacity, there's just overall challenges in trying to run these programs and try to communicate value to folks so they are motivated to actually make that financial commitment or investment in the organization. So we have a variety of issues going on with membership programs in terms of lack or limited value, a perception of, or maybe we're just not doing a good job in defining it. The challenges of decreasing revenue, challenges of recruiting and attracting new members, the challenges of just general retention and getting people to renew. And I'm sure there are others out there, but this kind of is the general landscape we're facing. So part of it, for consideration is the way we've set up our membership programs with a very transactional purpose. That if you join our organization and pay a fee, here's what you get in terms of tangible benefits. So free tickets, discounts, special event invites, some kind of recognition. I mean, there's a variety of benefits, and typically, for many historical sites and museums, the benefits are focused around, the actual organization coming to if you have a building, coming to a program, you join at $50 and here's what you get, and it's very much give us the check and here's your card that gives you these benefits. So that seems to be the way most of us position our membership programs. So, so really join and here you go. And part of that, we almost are creating a disconnect in terms of value, because what an individual values in terms of being a member of the organization often defaults to that tangible benefit. And in this environment right now with COVID-19 and the limitation and challenges just in having people visit your possible building or museum, which some have reopened, some haven't, but also just holding general programs and events, which for many is just not feasible or on the horizon for 2020. What where are we positioned to possibly to really see a real negative impact, and as we look to renewing membership or retaining people moving forward, because we've emphasized so much of the benefit of membership on the tangible components. And so that brings us to this whole idea of value. What does it really mean to be a member? Is it really about paying a fee to get a ticket or a discount, or is it something more? And I think for most organizations, there's an association by being a member, but we for the organization, they are thinking of membership not just as a ticket or discount, but these are people that are partners or investors. And so, but how do we get those folks making that paying that fee to see it that way as well? And that's I think where part of this comes into play for consideration for organizations with your membership program, is really rethinking this idea of membership as moving away, not that you're going to eliminate benefits or not offer the benefits anymore. That will always be a part of any membership program, but changing the way we position membership and emphasize membership and really think more about the value. It's what's that call to action? The call to action is not give us money so you can get a discount. The call to action is give us money because you're, here's what we represent, here's the impact we have, here's why it matters to you, making them a partner or an investor. And the same goes to, when you're asking as an organization for people to contribute, say like in an annual appeal letter, people are not motivated to give to organizations because you're a nonprofit organization. Many organizations emphasize that. Give to us because we're a nonprofit, and you'll get a charitable tax deduction. With the tax bill passed last year and the doubling of the standard deduction, most people don't even see an actual impact on their taxes, because when they itemize their charitable contributions still don't make an impact outside the standard deduction now. And so we, just like membership being tied directly to benefits, if we tie our call to, donations and contributions specifically to being a nonprofit and a tax deduction, we set ourselves up for failure somewhat. So we really need to think more about what is membership really about? What's the value? What is the reason that people should join? It's about connection. It's about being involved with something exciting, making them investors and partners. And some of this is just language and really rethinking how we talk about membership, and then fitting our benefits within the context of that. So part of this is and I talked about this in the fund development webinar, moving away from pegging your organization as a kind of a stereotypical approach. And this, just like membership equals benefits, giving your organization money because you're a nonprofit is short selling who you are and really what you do. And so there's a lot more to any organization that's structured as a 501c3 they're called nonprofits or not-for-profits, but that doesn't really give you the full understanding or context of their value and the impact they have on the people who are connected to them and their communities. So, it's not really, why are we giving this and kind of tying ourselves to this stereotypical idea, or in many cases, negative perception that might be tied to being a nonprofit organization? What are we really about? We really are more about, the mission, the value, the impact we have. And so there's an argument here for thinking more about driving or emphasizing our connection to impact rather than tying ourselves to the actual idea of our corporate tax structure. So the more we can emphasize impact and not the laundry list of activities, but really who we are and what we do, and the value it brings to people and our communities, the more we're going to see potential for income. So it's really positioning ourselves more in terms of impact as a for-impact organization and not as a nonprofit organization. And so that's the same idea with membership, really rethinking how we talk about membership and what the value of membership is. And I just threw this example in here in terms of for impact, which is, I should have mentioned this idea of for impact organization comes from For Impact, which is a fund development consulting firm, and they've been around for a number of years. And that's, this idea of being a for impact organization is a great idea, and kind of something that they pushed, for just getting organizations to rethink who they really are. And this was a model very simple activity they put together, and we use it pretty frequently. And it's really just thinking about who and what your organization really is. So instead of, talking about all the activities and programs and services, and starting there with a historical study or a museum, we really want to kind of reframe the importance of our organization. And so that this activity, kind of 9 boxes, is meant to help you somewhat, just think about, what do we want to emphasize, and what's the more important part of our organization. So in this case, we used it for NYCON many years ago, because we were always telling people kind of all the activities and programs and services we were doing. So we were always starting with, the importance of NYCON being all the comprehensive services, but it got lost in the mix. A lot of people, it took too long to explain who we were, what we did. We lost people. It wasn't engaging. It wasn't succinct. And so once we kind of looked at this idea of the what, the why, and the how of NYCON, it was a way to really better kind of identify, really how these things are interconnected, and then a different way of communicating about the importance and impact of NYCON. So what we were always missing was the what and the why. We knew what the how was, and we knew we could go on and on about the how, but for us it was kind of working backwards. So comprehensive services, why have those, and the what to them. So to support nonprofits, why build stronger nonprofits, and how we do it, the comprehensive services. Same with this idea of collaboration. We do a lot of collaboration. A lot of our work goes into that kind of activity and those kinds of services. What's that about? Planning. Why do we get community engagement, and how we do that? We do that through collaboration. And the last piece, advocacy, is again a very big area that we focus on. So we do that. How do we do that? Through education and lobbying. We can go on and on about that, but it's kind of backing up and recognizing, okay, the what is the advocacy or advocate. Why are we doing it? To give voice to all nonprofits, and how we do that, education and lobbying. So we're really packaging our organization And NYCON is a membership corporation, so we have membership. We offer a variety of benefits and services to nonprofit organizations all across New York State. We have over 3,000 members, but the benefit, the tangible benefits are one component, but it's not the only reason, and it's the true motivating factor for organizations to join. It's much more than that, and we were trying to figure out how to better package our membership, and this was a way of kind of helping us better identify that messaging and get people to understand they're buying into something much bigger than the comprehensive services. And so this activity, you can take it back to your organization and figure out the what, the why, and the how, and just take these 9 boxes and try putting this together for your overall organization, or even from the perspective of your membership program. But really, if you can figure out the what, the why, and the how for your organization, it's going to better inform the way that you are promoting your membership and why people should value joining and making that investment, monetary investment in your membership program. So, so that really gets at that messaging piece and really rethinking how we talk about our organizations and using membership as a tool for getting folks involved, that investment, that partner piece. We could obviously solicit them for a donation or a contribution, but membership makes things a little bit easier to, so there's not only that tangible benefit, but also people can feel good because they are, they're also buying into something as an investor or partner. And I'm an advocate of integrating that kind of language, investor, partner, right into any solicitation, especially around membership. We want people to feel like it's not, being a member is one thing, and there's so many membership programs out there, people are almost numb to that, and it really, there's an argument for rethinking how we are pushing this idea of membership and trying to create more of a relationship with people and really trying to better inform them and show them what their monetary support is helping the organization do. And then, yes, you also get these tangible benefits. But the benefits are not the primary reason, that we're getting them to join it because it's something bigger. They're buying into the mission of the organization. In terms of leveraging membership, this, I'm going to touch on some of the benefits pieces and, just show you a couple examples that, where organizations are trying to think, revise or tweak their membership benefits, maybe some different ways of thinking about membership benefits. But, in terms of overall membership, there's a variety of ways that organizations try to, offer something tangible. So outside of, the tickets and the discounts, there's other ways of building in benefits for membership, like promotions, recognition. Depending on who you're soliciting, there could be some ways of promoting, if it's a business, web advertising, or just visibility. There's organizations that put together directories or guides that highlight members, highlight businesses that support the organization. There's a lot of branded merchandise out there. People get merchandise as a member. That's, another tangible benefit or way to promote membership. Workshop and programs that have, non-member and member fees, or free, for members, and a fee only for non-members. There's sponsorship kind of components tied to membership. There's, in this environment, a lot more push to virtual platforms, so webinars, virtual presentations, seminars. That's a benefit that you often can see tied to membership. Other business rewards or discounts or partnerships that can not only benefit the business, but also benefit your organization and your members. So, kind of highlight some ideas around that. But I mean, you could look at a variety of ways of building out the benefits for your own membership program outside of the actual, maybe just a discount at your organization or a ticket or some kind of, invitation. There's other ways of looking at diversifying your benefits and offering something unique or different that gives not only more value, perceived value, but gives you something more to leverage. So I'm just going to highlight one example. There's a number of organizations that where they are trying to figure out how can we build upon our core membership benefits and maybe do something a little bit different to attract more attention, or to reverse or kind of a decreasing membership program where retention is an issue, or we're losing more members than we're getting in, and we're seeing that revenue eroding. Roberson Museum is one example. They were trying to figure out how to maybe do something different with their membership program, and they are in a more urban area in Binghamton. So they looked at trying to better partner and integrate with businesses. And so this is a great example, of thinking about collaboration and partnership, and how can your organization work more closely with your local businesses and figure out a way to benefit both your organization and their businesses. And so what Roberson did in this case is they created this Roberson Rewards, and it's a pretty simple idea that any organization could do. You basically are asking that business to offer a discount to your members, and then that in turn promotes the business, and the member can take advantage of that discount. That's the pretty simple concept. This overall, I think the simpler you keep it, the better, the more manageable. I think Roberson Museum has had, I think, some just general challenges. The more businesses you have, the more there is to manage. But they put together a pretty kind of lengthy group or list of local businesses that offering discounts in the local area, and gives them something more to promote and sell in terms of getting people to a hook for being a member, on top again of that messaging, kind of remembering that it's more than just a tangible benefit. It's that relationship, it's that partnership. And here, even they obviously are talking more about the reward of being a member, but making that investment is where we want to start, and then we're going to hook them with these other ideas. And these are just some examples from their program. And you'll see that also they brought in some partnerships with some other local cultural attractions like the zoo and Tri-Cities Opera. So there's ways of working with your other nonprofit organizations in the area. And again, keeping it simple, it doesn't have to be complicated, but it gives you something that you don't necessarily, it's not going to have a cost to your organization. And it's a way that you can work with your local businesses and actively promote that, and that hopefully benefits everybody. Another example I just wanted to highlight is there are some package programs out there, more specifically Make a Difference rewards, which you can check out with the web link, and you could Google them as well. But Make a Difference rewards, it's almost like a program that you buy into, and then essentially you can build that into your membership program. And so in this case, I'm just using another Binghamton example, Broome County Humane Society. they are promoting this idea of the make a difference reward. And so if organizations buy into it, then the Humane Society ends up benefiting. And there are examples like this out there, where you're taking an existing program and then you're promoting it or adding it on. It doesn't, it is something packaged, and it's almost like selling a coupon book, if you want to think of it like that, and that may not be as attractive or maybe something you want to promote necessarily, but it does give you another option. For organizations, the better route might be kind of tailoring something where you are picking a small number of partners and putting something unique together that works best for your organization and your membership program overall. Because at the end of the day, part of this is mission. And, I think organizations want to work with businesses that are supportive and that understand who you are and what you are trying to accomplish. But this could be another kind of idea to look at. And then just a kind of bigger, broader picture example, we have organizations out there that are trying to promote support for initiatives and efforts. And in this case, the Kentucky Arts Council has a fund where donors of the fund at a certain level end up getting an overall, what they call an arts card, that brings a whole bunch of cultural partners together that provide various discounts and even not only performance and exhibits, but also on merchandise at the cultural partners or through the cultural partners. And this is another kind of initiative. There are examples that of regional organizations, regional historical societies and museums kind of banding together and creating these kinds of initiatives. They are always dependent on staffing and funding, because they do require some administrative effort. But this could be something as simple, just to look at as an example, just a simple membership exchange between two organizations in the same local area. And we definitely see that kind of example of collaboration. But just to give you some ideas, going to the local business community, going to your other local attractions, other local nonprofit organizations that are providing something, in terms of that would be a fit or a value to your members. This is another way of building out your membership to make it more attractive, and to add more of tangible benefit, and give you something more to promote, as well as to the benefit of your partners. And so in an ideal where, ideally you're really, leveraging that partnership to the benefit of your organization, and then your partners are promoting you, and hopefully they're promoting your membership, and you're going to hope the ultimate return on investment would be monetary, and either reversing a decline, or maybe just holding firm in terms of those renewal numbers. So it's the one thing, going back to the challenges in confronting membership right now, is that continuing the same approach isn't working, and so we have to change, or we have to try something different. And so these are just ideas. They aren't necessarily, there's no silver bullet, but between messaging and the benefit structure and looking at partnerships and collaborations, there's opportunities for trying to reverse or turn your membership program around. And this is the whole idea. I mean, this is a donor development effort. Getting people to buy into membership is the same as donor solicitation. You're asking people to make a contribution, and they're, how do we do that? So part of it is identifying who we're going after, informing them about what we do, and in this case, why they should want to be a member, getting their interest and engagement, getting them on board through that actual membership investment. So that's that involvement, engagement piece. And then they actually are becoming an investor in the organization, and then we're trying to maintain and build that relationship. So it's a constant cycle. So it's the same with donor solicitation. You're identifying, informing, interest, involve, invest. It's the same with membership. As you think about that, we need to identify the folks, inform them, educate them, tell them about our membership, get them interested. Why should they care? Why does this matter to them? We want to get them involved, kind of show them why it matters to them, get them then to make the investment. And now we have them as a member, but we need to kind of continue that cycle, and can't just stop at that investment. And hopefully, if we build our kind of think about our messaging and talk about the relationship and them being an investor and a partner, and we're getting them to see it's much more than just about the benefits they're receiving, that we're trying to get them to look to the big picture of why they should continue that support, and hopefully that develops more of a connection to your organization. So part of this is thinking about your audiences, and for the next couple components here I'm going to review. I'm going to talk more about maybe some ideas for expanding who you're interacting with, and maybe rethinking who you're communicating with around membership. So, as you think about your audiences, you have your board, you have your current members and your donors, and then as we keep kind of going outside these circles, there's more people and more opportunities, but the connection is diminished, and so the board has the strongest connection, board and staff. Then our current members and donors obviously know a lot about us and are investing or for some reason. And then there's other people, like-minded businesses, people, volunteers. Then as we move further out, it's like all the other demographics, and so where are we trying to focus our efforts and energy in terms of our audience? That's one part of our discussion, or your consideration and discussion for what you're trying to accomplish with your membership. There's a lot of different people, and they're geared different ways. So like these kind of just quick statistics in terms of generation breakouts and in how they give are definitely of interest and have some value. Just understanding younger people have a different way of engaging, what they feel is important, why they want to give, compared to say like a more kind of that older age group that we call matures, 68 and plus. So looking at where giving is occurring, how, what are the trends around these different categories, the amount of money they're giving, that definitely helps us better inform where we want to be targeting, and understanding where we want to prioritize our efforts with our audience. I think for many historical study museums, engaging that younger generation is a challenge, and I think that there's not a real clear solution or strategy. It's I think different organizations are trying different things, but as you think about wherever you're trying to target, and thinking about that, identifying kind of that cycle of trying to get people to go from identifying them to the investment part, we need to think about the who we're targeting, and then how we're going to communicate with them. And this goes back to that whole idea of the for impact. We really need to reframe and revise how we talk about our organization, and then how we actually are putting that communication out. So this is just something to think about for many organizations. The typical approach tends to be, here's our mission, here's what we do, we're a nonprofit. send us money, and then we continue that cycle. Here's us, here's what we're doing, send us money, and then we continue on and on. But instead, this goes to the argument of revising or reframing. Think more about the impact of your organization, the results, the value, and we start with that, and then we talk about why it should matter to the people we're trying to engage, why it matters to you, how it affects you. Send us money, and and that's a call to action because it affects you, it's important to you. Then our follow-up to them is, here's the results from the money you provided to us. You said this is important, we use your money to do this, and now this is how it further impacts you or affects you, and now we're asking you to continue to make an investment. So it's, we're making it more into a relationship, a partnership. We're making them an investor. And that I think is the way to think about the membership program and the way we talk about our membership and our organization from a marketing perspective. So once we have a better understanding of how we want to position the way we communicate and the value we emphasize, then part of this is, what are those primary channels for how we're getting our information and messaging out. And for many organizations, especially in this environment right now, online engagement is one of our only kind of means. So, we're using our website, we're using email, we're using our social networks, social media. So this is, these are really those three main areas. And how do we, make sure that we're connecting the dots? These are all interconnected, and using them just like the revenue generation strategies. All three have importance, and we really are kind of relying on all three to best support our promotional efforts, as well as our efforts in trying to raise money for the organization. So, it's online giving is definitely increasing and a growing area, but there's always that, those other components like your annual giving, your annual solicitation, and your membership, which many organizations are still mailing, as a mail piece. But reinforcing those efforts through online engagement only increases success and in return on investment. So this is another component, just to think about in terms of where to go for more people and to see possible increases in engagement, but also try to convert that into actual money, and maybe through membership or solicitation. So going online is where everyone is looking right now, and we're seeing, I think many nonprofit organizations are seeing a huge increase in engagement through their websites and social media, because that's where everyone's looking. And so there's a huge opportunity to capture hopefully more information from people. So part of that is their contact information, their email address. You should definitely build that in through social media or through your website. Getting out there more, and in terms of your search engine optimization, that's making sure you have content that is kind of fresh and engaging people, and a lot of organizations are doing that through Facebook. There's other ways of getting, increasing your presence and exposure, like Google Grants, and I have a link here just to highlight that, or even, for example, more targeted marketing like Facebook ads, which many organizations seem to be utilizing, which is low cost and can give you very specific targeting opportunities. Just on SEO very quickly, this is really about your content, and your website is a part of the puzzle, but really that social media those social media tools give you an opportunity to really push this more. So if you can integrate your social media channels into your Facebook page, into your website, if you can integrate your social media channels into your website and kind of connect everything interconnected, that's much more to your advantage. And this is where we can start seeing our visibility increase online. I think, just understanding what is the strategy you're using and what are you trying what are the results you're trying to get? I mean, I think all of us, many organizations are posting and promoting on Facebook, just to get information out there and engage people. But what are we trying to accomplish by doing that? And I think if we tie that back to, for example, our membership program, and when we send out our membership appeal by mail for renewal, this goes back to this whole idea of a plan. We're talking about improving our messaging. We're talking about our tangible benefits. Now we're going to start promoting that. We do it through our traditional means, like mailing it out. But then ideally, we're going to run a campaign or kind of promote that all through our social media channels, as well as if you have an email newsletter, email notices. So everything's getting reinforced. So on your Facebook page, for example, you're going to be promoting your membership renewal process and really bringing that to people's attention. At the same time, you're mailing out your membership to your traditional contacts. So this is just another way of increasing outreach and increasing engagement, and hopefully a way of increasing membership. Another idea is for getting more visibility and increasing engagement is Google Grants, and you can check out the link google.com /nonprofits, and that's where they have a variety of resources, including the opportunity to apply for Google Grants that you can use to promote your organization on Google as an ad word, or it's essentially an ad on their search page that pops up when people search. And I'm sure you all have seen them when you search Google. And this is something you would not have to pay for. You would essentially apply for a grant that would pay for those ads. And it's one more way of raising your visibility and your organization, who you are, what you're trying to accomplish. Definitely worth looking at. And then Facebook ads, which I mentioned previously, are a way of really focusing in and being more targeted with your marketing. Especially, I haven't heard of too many organizations running a targeted Facebook ad around their membership program, but it definitely is something for consideration, especially if you have a typical renewal time, and you could easily just target your Facebook ad on every single person that likes your Facebook page, which you would assume would be some of your current members and maybe individuals who are not members. So these kinds of efforts and ideas have a low cost to them, and can in terms of return on investment could be well worth it. And so the last piece I just want to talk about is kind of assessing your membership program. And so this idea is really not necessarily going out there and starting something from scratch. Why reinvent the wheel? So let's start with what you already have in place. So we're thinking about who's our current audience. So we have our email list. How do we add to our email list? How do we expand our contacts? How do we improve our website visitors and interconnect our social media challenges or our channels and kind of reinforce everything, and connect that to our email newsletter or our mail newsletter. Any way we can interconnect all these things, we're going to be more successful. What part of the question here is, what do your members want from you? And really a way of thinking about that is to ask them. So we have our current audience. We want to know what they think or what they want. And the easiest way to get at that is to set up a very simple survey. And so if you haven't surveyed your members, then this is definitely a priority for any organization. And I just am showing you some quick examples here for consideration. You could get an idea of your demographics. How many of your members are male or female? What are their age groups? How many people are in the household? These will give you more insight about why they're a member, and maybe the kinds of things you could offer to them. Of course, you can ask them, what are they more interested in, or what would be of value to them. But you could ask them a lot of questions just to get a baseline understanding of who they are, not necessarily by name, but where what is the makeup of their family, and you know, and what's their general interests. And more importantly, if you run a survey, often it gives you an opportunity to cast a wide net and just ask as large a group as possible, are you a member of the organization? And if not, what, you know, why aren't you a member? And that's a great opportunity for getting feedback on why people aren't members. And so they took the time to fill out the survey. That gives you some perspective, you know, to some insight that you would never have otherwise known. So a survey, gives you an efficient way of kind of gathering feedback and input from your current members, but also casting a wider net and getting a better pulse. A question I really like is, a survey like this is asking, or people to reflect on the organization. And a quick question is, what are 3 words that they associate with the organization? And the great thing about a question like that is you can use a word cloud or text analysis and look and see what kind of comes to mind in terms of the most utilized words. And so this was a survey I ran with a membership for a YMCA, which is obviously not a historical society or museum, but is a good example just to show you what you sometimes don't know what your members think. And so, so a lot of this would have been, reasonable for this organization. And I think I recall this particular survey, had hundreds and hundreds of responses. So in terms of the word analysis, the bigger the word, the more answers it was, the more it was used. And so one of the words that pops out that was a red flag for this organization was the word expensive. And they had no idea that their membership's perspective or their perception was that the membership for their organization was expensive. And so that was a clue to the organization. They really needed to go back and rethink how they were communicating the value of the membership and what the members actually receive and what are they really a part of and buying into. Because when it came down to the benefits, which was what they were emphasizing, the perception was it was expensive for what the benefits. That transaction was seen from a perception perspective as expensive. So this is again, a survey can reveal some very interesting things. Gives you an opportunity to ask people, how do they want to get communications from you? Email, Facebook, Twitter. Did they even know you had a Facebook page? Did they know you had have a Twitter account? This is a way to kind of get a pulse and see, okay, well, we're a small organization. We have volunteers. We can only really do maybe one thing. And so if a majority of our responses say Facebook, we're going to do Facebook. So I think this is another great question. What about value? What do you value the most in terms of our organization? This, again, I just pulled this from this YMCA survey. Again, great question to run a quick word cloud or text analysis and see what comes up in terms of your members, and what do they really feel is important from your organization. So just wrapping up here, as you're thinking about your own membership program, there's I would encourage, as a starting point, I think a survey is a great place to start, but infrastructure is probably the very first component. You really need to have some kind of committee or work group or some folks who are going to help, whatever it is you're prioritizing or you're trying to do with your membership program. You could run a survey and get some great responses, but then what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that analysis or information? How are you going to put it into action? So, so as you're thinking about some takeaways, part of this is rethinking your own membership and the way you're communicating about your organization, and why people should join. And that goes back to that partnership investment kind of concept. Then, where the actual process, kind of is outlined from there, in terms of call to action and asking people for that monetary investment. I think part of this, is, what they actually are buying into, as I said previously, what is the real, reason people should care? How's it affect them? How's it impact them? What is that personal return on investment for that individual? So that's part of why we're trying to communicate that out. So the call to action, why membership's important, what's in it for that individual, what are they, how's it impact them personally, and why should they make an investment? And then another idea, just to integrate here as a takeaway, is bringing other testimonials or support in to kind of tell people why, to reflect out why other people are members. It's the same with the board of directors. Why does an individual become a board member? Having them share why they're a board member helps tell other people how important being on the board is. So in the case of a membership, asking members to tell you why they are members gives you an opportunity to take that information and then use it for promotional efforts, and also reflecting to people why there's value in being a member. So and that's that kind of last idea of using testimonials, really telling a story to people around why being a member is important and the value of membership. And the only way you're going to capture that kind of information, again, is through maybe a tool like a survey, and asking for feedback and kind of keeping the dialogue and communication open between you and your members. And so the more you can capture that kind of information, it gives you something more to market and leverage, and it helps you improve your membership program. So there's a lot here, that I am covering, I think, but if you takeaways, you think about, the infrastructure and, your overall fund development efforts and how membership fits within that, and then some kind of work group or committee that can help lead this effort, and then your messaging, the way you communicate the value, the call to action around membership, the way you want to leverage membership in terms of that benefit structure and maybe other ideas for adding on to membership, so you have something more that to promote and sell, and then ways of reaching a larger and broader audience and engaging people, and then reinforcing that through all your efforts, making sure you're interconnecting everything, so you're reinforcing, and then then ultimately just making sure there's an open lines of communication, and you're evaluating and asking people to make sure you always have a pulse on why membership, what people think about membership, and make sure that what they think is the same thing that you all think, in terms of staff and board of directors. We don't want a disconnected develop. So that brings us to the end. Didn't know if there was any questions at this point that people, at this point, there aren't any that were shared, but if anyone had any. So I think somebody had raised their hand here, and I'm not sure. And I think if you did raise your hand, and I apologize, I assume this is the question from the person who raised their hand, but the question is, for the survey, do you supply words? No. If you're asking me more specifically about like a question example that I gave of what 3 words do you associate with the organization, no. And when I've run that question, I've never supplied the words. People just, I mean, you want to make that question as clear as possible, but people generally will just list the 3 words. And it may not be 3 words, but they really do, in most cases, they're going to write those words for you. And that I think is the, that's what you want. You really want to get some insight of what people think about your organization. And that's where, in a way, you may see a perception issue, and that's a good thing. That's the value of that kind of effort or activity, because if you are having problems with membership engagement or retention, And you may not even know there's a problem. Maybe people don't feel like the organization is not open, or or maybe it's just disconnected, but nobody really, you don't know why. And then that kind of survey could reveal that issue. So any other questions at this point? So I think if not, again, we appreciate everyone joining us today. And Marissa or DHPSNY will be sending a follow-up with the recording from the webinar and the handouts. And my email is in the handout. And so if you have any follow-up questions, you can always follow up with me by email. But of course, any other questions, direct them to the info@DHPSNY.org email. And we hopefully look forward to having you attend some more of our webinars. And we look forward to next year as well, when we hope to continue this webinar series. And I think there is an evaluation that goes out, but if I would just encourage folks, if you want to share other ideas on webinars that you'd like to see, I'd encourage you to email DHPSNY and make those suggestions. That's always helpful too. So, but thank you again, and we look forward to continuing to be a resource.